that of the United Kingdom. We were receiving reports earlier in the day that Trudeau was trying to rally support from other allies of Canada, but now we're learning is that United Kingdom has come out and asserted that there is going to be absolutely no impact on the UK's ties with India, irrespective of what any of the allies say. UK PM Rishi Sunak, spokesperson in fact, has now come out and confirmed that ties between India and the United Kingdom remain on the right track, especially as far as the trade deal is concerned. Abhishek, my colleague, joining us, getting us more perspective on this. Now, Abhishek, Justin Trudeau might try to rally support, but he clearly isn't getting any.
Of course, this is like we were talking. This is a domestic political compulsion. That is, that is the reason why Justin Trudeau is trying to raise this issue out of nowhere, and he's also trying to rally support from none other than UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Joe Biden, US President Macron. The French president has been apparently in touch with them, and he has tried to convey Canadian point of view on the killing of Niger. But in the current geopolitical context, we know, and the kind of camaraderie and the friendship Prime Minister Modi and Indian leadership has with countries like UK, USA, Macron, they are hardly going to have any takers of the Canadian narrative on the issue of Niger. First of all, they would rather ask him why a person who was most wanted, who had red corner notice against him, who had a lookout circular against him, whose overall citizenship application was shrouded in mystery and that was shady. Why that person was being allowed in the name of activism, all those activities and anti-India sentiment, spreading in Canada. Why that person was being allowed, despite India having raised the concern on the security of Indian diplomats, Indian community members, and people from Hindu faith also at times coming under attack from these Khalistani elements in Canada. So why there had been not any action from the Canadian government, and now somebody who had been killed and the investigation is still underway. Justin Trudeau government is trying to make an issue out of nowhere, and he's trying directly Indian agencies' hand in the killing of Niger, and knowing fully well that what kind of fallout will it have diplomatically. We know that there's a large Indian diaspora which resides in Canada. About 3% of overall Canadian population is of Indian origin. About 1.6 million Indian diaspora live there, and about 400,000 are permanent residents of Canada. So, in that context, having to disturb the sentiment of India-Canada bilateral ties will go a long way, little more than what the political gain the Trudeau government might have factored in before going ahead with this,
Sure.
these allegations of Indian
Domestic compulsions on one side, political ones at that for Justin Trudeau, and on the others, of course, bilateral relations with India. That is something that Justin Trudeau will have to think about. Abhishek, do stay on with me. Let's listen into some more reactions that are now pouring in as well, because the outrage is evident. India is not going to take it lying down. These kind of unsubstantiated and absurd allegations that have come to the fore from the Trudeau administration.
Well, for a key Western partner of India to make that move, and of course that coming after the very dramatic allegation that President Trudeau made against India's government, it's very surprising, just because something like this rarely happens. And again, to emphasize, this is a key Western partner, a really big deal. These types of things simply do not happen that often. So I was very surprised by this development.
I was absolutely flabbergasted and shocked. When I saw this news, it was literally a bombshell thrown by Mr. Trudeau on the first day of the parliamentary session here in Canada. And it was absolutely something unexpected, because if, presumably, if going by what he said, this is something that the Canadian intelligence services have been working on for some time. This was known, presumably was known. And the fact that Trudeau went to the G20, and we know of all of the awkwardness that happened there, something is peculiar about the timing about this announcement.
Something is peculiar about this timing. That's what many experts are coming out and saying. Abhishek continues to be with us on this broadcast. And Abhishek, we've seen the kind of allegations that have come to the fore from the Trudeau administration, both from the Prime Minister himself and his cabinet colleague. But what proof do they have? Can they just make such unsubstantiated allegations against an ally country?
So apparently they are having some weeks of investigation, which has pointed, to the role of Indian agencies in killing of Niger, and they have been with those credible linkages, evidences for weeks sitting with them. But right now, why nobody knows why the security government has chosen this day and night time for revealing all those hard substantiated, apparently in their version, substantiated leakages and evidences against Indian agencies' role. But we know that yesterday, when Justin Trudeau was standing in the Parliament House, there was a lot of uproar against his policy, his economic policy, which has forced Canadian people out of, in a very bad economic state. There are high price rise, inflation, cost of living has gone up. Housing sector is in bad shape. So all these allegations were high there, and Justin Trudeau and his ministers were all the time trying to defend their government policy on those certain issues. And in that context, we will have to see the political compulsion that we were talking about. The Trudeau's government is facing a lot of wrath domestically, and probably this is one of the distracting tactics against India. Also,
But at
we
what
have
cost
seen
does
that.
that come? Do stay on with me. Veena Sikri, former diplomat, also joining us here on this broadcast. Ma'am, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Political compulsions for Justin Trudeau on one side, but at what cost is that coming? Can he actually make such allegations against an ally country like India and get away with it?
No, I think that these allegations are, in fact, to quote the words of the government of India, absurd and motivated. I think one has to look very carefully even at the language that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau used in Parliament, in the Canadian Parliament, when he was making the statement. He said that they have credible allegations of a potential link. Now, this is so vague and completely shows that they have no proof, completely unsubstantiated, and they are doing it purely for their own internal political reasons, because Prime Minister Trudeau had faced a lot of flack within Canada as well from other political parties and from various commentators about why his visit to India for the G20 had gone so badly, and now he's trying to put it all down to the so-called assassination of the Khalistani linked person. Now, I think that India has very rightly taken the correct step by expelling a Canadian diplomat from Delhi, and the Indian Foreign Office has called in the Canadian High Commissioner and told him in no uncertain terms. We did see, for example, even when Prime Minister Trudeau was in Delhi for the G20, he refused to attend the dinner hosted by President Draupadi Murmu. Now, this is a great, breach of protocol. It's, I think, a very incorrect stand for him to take, because at the same time when he refused to attend the dinner hosted by our president, he was seen in a restaurant in Chanakyapuri. So, I mean, it shows that his intentions, his concern, his interest towards India seems to be subservient to his own internal political compulsions, where he has in his own coalition a pro-Khalistani group, and they are putting pressure on him to take all these steps, and he's doing so. So I think one has to see that he has, I would say, reduced his own credibility by taking this position, and we're not even wanting to talk to the government of India. If you have any proof, if you think there's something, please show it to the government of India, and please, say that
Absolutely,
you
and
can't
raise it at diplomatic levels instead of making allegations like this publicly without any sort of proof. But Ms. Sikri, thank you so